Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool, and today we're going to take a closer look at this GRECELL T-300. This is a much more affordable, smaller power station, and what these are basically giant batteries that have overload protection. They've got cooling fans, they've got, in this case, wonderful rubber bumpers around the edges to keep it nice and safe, you know, in a mobile environment. And this particular thing has a rated capacity of 288.6 watt hours. It's got a maximum output of about 600 watt hours and a rated output of around 330 watt hours. So it kicks out some serious juice. Maybe not as long as the bigger, 3-4 times as expensive units. A couple of features up its sleeve. It does have a LED light punching out the side here, so if we turn that on, also has an SOS feature, you can see. Let me kick it back to just regular lighting. Not going to replace your flashlight, but definitely helpful, especially if you're using one of these things for a emergency situation, preparedness, backup, things like that. What do we have on the front end? Okay, you've got the power button, you've got the light. For DC here, a couple of things. You've got two 12-volt outputs right here, plus the standard kind of cigarette lighter output that's also 12 volt. Over here, you've got 4 USB ports. 3 of them are the USB-A, and these are the quick charge 3 amp, and then also there's a 60 watt here. And I noticed, I brought my MacBook out to test it. If you look really close, I don't know if you can see that, but anyway, what it says is this particular one is a 45 watt, so it should have no trouble charging up a MacBook Pro. Plus, I'm going to test it out on Milwaukee batteries and my classic old school DeWalt electric drill. And of course, you can charge any standard USB item here or here. And then it's got the the AC outlet. Now each of these three you turn on independently. Now interestingly, you see this is, I don't know if you can see that. Let me bring that up there. It says 100%. See if I can get that reflection out of there. You can see that. Now what's interesting about that is I got this over a month ago. And I played around with it, tested it out, tried it under a few different situations, and then I took off to Alaska for over a month. I charged it fully when I left, right before I left, and it is still over a month later at 100%. One of the things that a lot of people use these for is to make sure they have a backup power source for whether you're charging a bunch of different cell phones, whether you're needing it to run some appliances, cooling fans, which might be a life-death situation right now, and even just sitting over a month, 0 loss in overall storage capacity, which is right there important. So let's go ahead and test this thing. Let's go ahead and start. I'm going to plug in my my MacBook Pro a couple of different ways. So if I plug this in, I'm going to hit the AC button to turn that on and plug this in. And right now, check my my power, and it is, according to this, there we go. It is, well, it's fully charged. Bing, I don't know if you heard that or not, but anyway, it's charging it or keeping it charged at the standard AC outlet, but I can also pull this out, plug this directly in here, hit my USB. Of course, I'm still output. This is output 14 watts, just checking. But again, I can see that it's charging just fine. Now, let's try a couple others. Let's do the DeWalt drill. So if I plug that in, and I'm at 100%, 0 watts. Sorry about that. front end, a little bit of user error, but obviously it's kicking away just fine. And then I had a question when I did a review on another one of these. If I plug in a Milwaukee battery tester, and what I did is I discharged this guy here. You can see it's got 2 dots there. I used a leaf blower before this video to try to discharge this 9. That was even dumber to try to discharge this 12. I mean, I do have 1 dot down, so I'm going to actually use this. I don't know if do you see that or not? There we go. I don't know if you can see. What are you looking at here? That's why I shoot indoors. Anyway, there's 1 dot down. So I've got this thing plugged in, and what it's doing, I don't know if you can see, it's lit up here, and it's drawing, according to this, let me cut this thing loose and raise it up for you so you can see it. Right there, you're looking at about 72 watts, something like that. Oh, 119, sorry, my mistake, 133. You can hear the fan kick in because it's pulling the juice out of this thing, but we have got an honest, here's my focus thing right there. What do we have here? 138 watts coming out of this thing to charge this gigantic, you could heard it stop, 12. Let's throw a 2 on here, or a 1, or whatever this thing is. Let me see, 1.5, if you can believe that. So what is this doing here? Here's your answer. Let me get that so you can hopefully see it. About 50 watts is all, 60 watts to charge this little tiny guy. No fan kicking on. And we're at 99%. So you can see the power, the storage capacity. Oh, now we've got it kicking on. But the power that can be, stored over time in one of these units. I was skeptical early on. I thought, well, what am I going to use it for? I don't know, do I need a computer? Do I need whatever? And the more I use these, the more I realize there is a serious advantage to being able to extend. It's almost like a running start when things may not be going as well as you'd hope. Or maybe powers between time posts, if you will, instead of mile posts. And what do you have to do? You have to rely on something else. So I can charge it AC. I can also charge it a couple of other ways. One of them, cigarette lighter, or kind of the power port, if you will. And then there's a third way, as I dig through my pouch here, which I'll get to in a minute, and that is plugging it into the kind of the standard power connectors of solar panels. So I can actually do that, and I have lined up a big solar panel array behind it, which would allow me to charge this guy up. Now, let's go ahead and talk about, I'm going to unplug these things and talk about this. This is just a standard, I think it was a cooler for about 12 bucks. I'll put a link for Amazon on this, but what I do when I get something kind of interesting, go ahead and shut this thing off, is I look for a storage container if it doesn't come with one. And in this case, I've realized it's about cooler sized. So what I have to do is find a cooler. In this case, there are several options, but this is OPUX. It is a very basic cooler. I think it was like 12 bucks, but it's got the pockets. It holds this beautifully, as I drop this thing in, protects it, because coolers, not only are they coolers, but they are also padded containers. Slide that in. Is it caught on something here? There we go. Drop it down, closes up. What do we have? Well, we've got a front pocket. That's where I kept the solar panel connection. right there. I've got a side connection. I can keep the AC if I want in that. Maybe I'll even shrink it down just a little bit. Right there. Over here, I've got the power port, and this can run either direction, charging 12 volt output, or it can be input 12 volt. And then it's sealed up right there. So there's my case. So anyway, what we've got is a quick introduction to the GRECELL T-300. GRECELL did send me this, but not before I got to study it and then agree, because I get a lot of requests for things, and I often study them ahead of time, sometimes quite a bit. A lot of things I ignore, but in this case, it looked like a solid unit. It looked like it would perform, and it looked like a good intermediate between kind of the standard small battery packs and maybe a larger unit that I've reviewed in the past. So anyway, there it is, the GRECELL T-300. And with that, Doc out.